would you define as 1.5? The ratio of I and E is good 1.5 or...
So why is it 1.5? Why not 1.4 and 1.6?
4 to 2.5.
That's true. That's true. You know, this is actually, incidentally, the questionnaire was designed by Dr. Uday Parikh. This is a world-renowned questionnaire. Dr. Uday Parikh, you can do some Google and find out. Concept was invented, was invented by a couple of behavioral scientists in the US, but Dr. Uday Parikh was very well. So he has suggested this. Okay, there's also changes depending upon the role. So which is why we're not talking so much about the role. You know, if it is the mother, this could be this. If it's the teacher, it needs to be this. There are various things suggested. This is what I'm saying. 1.4 or 1.8 or I and E little. Just be aware of where I could end up. If I'm not aware of it, that's more important than digitally. I am merely being a passer of knowledge. Then this is not my own research. Okay, let me ask a couple of more. What's yours? Internal 35. Okay.
EO is 4.
EO is 4.
And EC is 4.
Ah. Okay. Very good, wonderful. So here we are talking something here. So, are there situations where you're working in a team of 4 and the outcome is not so good, and your I is so large, your internal locus is extremely deeply held, okay? and to the point where it is unreasonable to yourself. That is in the case of a failure. I'm only throwing hypotheses. It could be one of these, it could be any of these, it could be none of these, it could be something else. In this case, you can tell me. Are there also situations where you expect too much from your teammates? Are there also places where you discount? You're running so much, you're so much task focused that there is this concept called task and people balance. Task focused or people focused. There are times when the people could be extremely task focused and may not know what the guy next to me is feeling about the situation. Okay? You would know, I am only giving one hypothesis, you would know, or a couple of people work with you. If this is not the case, is it something to do with, especially in the case of a success? Do you recall the speech that Imran Khan gave? And people are all in speeches, no?
I'd like to give one.
There's this.
He said nobody believed in us, but I believe in my boss. Sorry.
I think if you can kind of download from YouTube and take a look at it, it will be very good. There was not a mention of the team on the podium. It was only mention about my mother's cancer hospital. I want to raise funds. We have cracked this, we have cracked that. No, phenomenal leader. It might have been a momentary blink, blackout, because it was so, it's likely. But it did come across and it was commented upon saying that no, this guy didn't acknowledge enough of the team. So I don't know if such a thing happens to you. I don't know Imran Khan's score, okay? So I must own that up. But tell me how this score that you have and the events that you when you look back, is there anything that you can share? First of all, is it valid or not? This is a question. It seems to be valid. And why do you say it is valid? Maybe it is rubbish.
I don't know about confidence, but I guess in failure most of the time.
Blaming yourself. Okay. And what do you say when you blame yourself? Okay. And do you kind of share it with someone else about that? Or normally you deal with it internally and then... Okay. So, really share with anybody. And is it worth engaging with? now that you have the score? Because there is a, I don't know what the percent is, whether it is 15% or 20%. In any situation, even if you are the only pilot in the cockpit and you run into a storm and your flight crashes, we don't know until after investigation what was the cause of the crash. You are responsible as a pilot. But maybe the guy, we do that air crash, that documentary in Discovery. No, maybe the guy who was supposed to have done a little bit of a check of all the screws of the aircraft failed. So 95% maybe it is his fault, but 5% could be anybody else's. Does that make sense? So I think it perhaps is necessary for you to engage and examine this. Don't jump to a conclusion quickly. Stay on with it, sleep over it, and then see if it makes sense. So like we are talking a couple of times, already spoken about omnipresence, which we picked up in the first session. We will come back and refer to this on a few occasions, because occasions will demand that I refer to this or you refer to this. Already Logan ने उसको बोल दिया ना, external बोल दिया.
So in this case, do we make the I small or the E bigger?
The balance gets restored. One leads to the other automatically. When I say that I'm only partially responsible, then you go and engage and say that, oh, maybe there is a little bit of a luck. The exam happened on a day like this. So I see it not operating in exclusion. One leads to the other. So you operate here, this will come down. It's a relative score, no? It's a relative score. Do it make sense? Yeah. So it doesn't operate in isolation.